Directives are very powerful. They can do a lot of things to the point where I'd almost say they can do just about anything, barring running into a technological limitation within the browser. Is you can extend them to do just about anything. But that said, is they're very powerful and they can be very complex. And so that's why I've broken this into two parts. And I think that if you look at directives from a simplified worldview, first is, and we apply the 80-20 rule, it'll be easier to kind of wrap your mind around it, and then we can start to extend it and go beyond that. So most simple directives, they consist of three things or less. And having a grasp on these makes everything else more approachable down the road. These are the three things that I spend 90% of my time when I'm writing directives around. You have your DDO, which is your directive definition object. And so that basically says, this is how I want to configure my directive. Your controller and your link function. And so your directive definition object is, it basically tells your directive or the compiler how this needs to be compiled. So a lot of times you'll have the link function, the controller function. Restrict would just simply say I want to restrict this to either like an element or an attribute, an element and an attribute. A class, I believe, and I've never seen this, but you can actually do a directive as a comment. That would be interesting. I'd like to see an example. It's kind of far out Twilight Zone stuff. But also template and template URL. Those are kind of the main, when you're writing directives, those are the things that you're going to spend most of your time setting up. And you know what? Let me jump into the code real quick. And let's just see an example real quick before I go any further. I think seeing these kind of in context will make a lot of sense. Oh, where do I start? There's so many of them. Actually, you know what? Let's do this one. So I'm going to jump into the Angular -designers directory. And I'm in app.js.